Happy Valentine's Day, everyone! Since I'm not actually celebrating Valentine's Day, I thought of doing a journal spread for it at least. And as always, I will be using pink and red for my color scheme. However, last year when I did my Valentine's journal, I did not use red, I only used pink. But honestly, I wouldn't really consider this a Valentine's journal because it was actually just a recap about everything I've done the past month. I don't even know how I was able to journal up to 4 hours a day last year because I really had so much time to journal compared to now, because ever since I've entered this school year, I feel like I've had less time to do the things that I actually enjoy doing, because during grade 10 I would literally do everything possible, or maybe not everything, but I would really try out most of the things I thought of doing. However, for this year I told myself that I would try out more things. For example, recently I started using felt. That was one thing that I wanted to try out for the longest, aka 1 week, but let's just ignore that. Oh my gosh. It doesn't even fit. I really saw many videos of people using felt in the cutest way possible. They would make wallets, they would make small cards, and I really thought it was cute, and I immediately got influenced and told myself I want to do that as well. Recently, I actually crocheted myself a seal plushie, and in order to make the eyes and the mouth, I used felt because I was kind of lazy to just crochet myself that. And yes, crocheting was also one of the things I picked up as a hobby last year. In the beginning, when I started crocheting, I would usually just make small things because why would I start big? I used to make small ribbons, and also I think one thing that I also made was a pencil case for myself. Now the thing is, I actually had to repeat the entire process because I wasn't really satisfied with the way my pencil case looked. And mind you, I've spent hours crocheting this pencil case, but I feel like it was definitely worth it because now it surely looks better. I have felt here and I want to try and see if it's possible for me to draw hearts on them and cut them. Another thing that I've been trying out recently was to use oil colors. If you've watched my last video, I actually had a part in the video where I used oil colors. The process of doing that was actually really cool, but I feel like I should have used a different art style for the specific picture that I have picked. Because when it comes to using oil colors, you would have to be really precise. You would have to pay attention to most of the details that you have. One thing that I surely have on my wish list is to try out acrylic markers, because I've been watching some videos of people using acrylic markers and I've been obsessed with them. The way people use them is so smooth. These pens look so edible, literally. I don't know. I just love the texture of it. I haven't used them myself, but I would love to use them one day. But anyways, back to the Valentine's journal. I was actually thinking of making this journal spread blue because if you know NMIXX, they actually have a song called Blue Valentine. And I actually had this thought of making my journal spread blue because of the song Blue Valentine that they have. This journal spread actually took me a couple hours because I did this in a span of 2 days. The reason for that is actually because I started this journal spread on Thursday night, so it was already quite late when I started, and then I finished this journal on Friday. I really had problems throughout this process because I really couldn't think of anything I could add, because I was kind of struggling of thinking what I could add, because usually when I journal, I have tons of ideas what I could do, but when I'm filming my journal spread, then my brain is literally dead. If I had to rate this journal spread, I would give it a 7 out of 10 because I really don't think it's my best journal spread, even though it has a lot going on in there. Because like I said, I had problems finding out what to add on this page. I was going through all of my journaling supplies or my stationery just to see if there's anything I could add to this journal, which is also one of the reasons why I used felt in my journal, because I didn't know what to do. I personally liked my December journal for Christmas, then this April journal spread or the recap that I did last year, and also February was also really cool, and September, as well as October 2024. One thing that I love about journaling is that you can collect memories in different ways. What I often do is that I talk about my past week or my month, depending on how I feel like, but one thing that I always do is that I write about my month. I don't really write about every week because I don't think I would be able to stay consistent. I often see people on TikTok say that they have different journals or multiple journals for different causes. That they, for example, have a journal for the diary entry, or that they have a journal for scrapbooking, or that they have a travel journal or whatsoever. And one thing I always ask myself is, how do people stay consistent? Because how are you able to really write in all of these journals and not forget or don't lose motivation on that? Because my current journal economy is the journal I am currently using, the one you're seeing right now. And then I have a journal that I use to plan my week or my couple days. And then I have a journal. I don't really consider this a journal, but I have this notebook where I really write down everything that comes to my mind. I have it everywhere, wherever I go. I use this notebook to write down pretty much everything that comes into my mind. And lately I've been writing in French as well, because there's this French exam that I have coming up in a couple weeks, and it's very important, so I've been practicing my French a bit. Usually I would write down everything I did the past couple days, or something I would do tomorrow, or just write down the most random things. One thing I've been practicing in French lately is how to read the clock, because I actually learned it back in year 7 or 8. And I mean, yes, it's been a couple years since I've learned that, so I should be aware of how to read the clock in French. But my problem is that every time I learn something new when it comes to languages, I would usually forget the older things that I learned. I literally forget simple words. But I mean, after all, we're learning. Oh no. Anyways, back to the journaling stuff. I have been seeing these Hobonichi planners on TikTok and Instagram, and I've immediately fallen in love with them. However, the price isn't as pretty, because what do you mean people are paying 40 euros for a planner? That's what I saw. I don't think they're actually that expensive, because apparently they come with some inclusions as well. There was this rectangular looking Hobonichi planner that I saw everybody using, and I really loved the way people decorated it, and that's the reason why I was interested in Hobonichi in the first place. I was thinking of getting this myself, but I don't know if it's worth it, because there are a lot of other alternatives for the Hobonichi planner. Now it's not looking as straight, but that's what I was trying to go for, so don't be irritated. To be honest, do I need the planner? No, but do I want it? Yes. But I feel like the only excuse that I would have just to buy it would be that I can decorate it. But usually before I make purchases, I really think, do I actually need it? Especially when it comes to bigger purchases. We're nearing towards the end, and I would say that this process was either bad or good. Something in between, because one thing that I hated the most was having to put these letters or the stickers on that freaking journal, because they always fall off for no reason. I really have a love-hate relationship with stickers, honestly, because sometimes they literally tear off for no reason. I'm like, what the heck? Like, you're not supposed to tear off, you're supposed to be put on a surface. I also didn't like having to cut off the card in half, because that was one thing that I was trying to avoid the most, because I was already thinking of doing this in the beginning. What do I think of this journal spread? I'm gonna be honest, it's not the worst I've done, because even though I don't like it as much, there was definitely worse that I've done. I'm not gonna show any pictures because they were really, really bad. But overall, the process was a 6 out of 10. And I would love to do that again. One thing that I do admire about this journal spread is the details, the flowers and the stickers, which I didn't really like putting on, and also the balloons. I really enjoyed cutting these balloons with my hands. So we've reached the end of the video, and I want to say thank you so much for watching it. And if you've made it up to here, comment the word Valentine. And until then, have a nice one. Bye!